Could you, yes, you ever become a monster? I mean, picture yourself. Kind, compassionate, the kind of person who holds the door for strangers. Now imagine that same you, doing something so cruel, so dark, you'd barely recognize yourself in the mirror. Sounds impossible, right? But here's the kicker. It's happened before, to people just like us. And it's not as far-fetched as you think. This isn't just some creepy thought experiment. It's about understanding the hidden forces that can twist even the best of us into something we'd swear we'd never become. Because here's the deal. Knowing how good people turn bad doesn't just explain history, it could save you from crossing that line yourself. So, stick with me. We're diving into the deep end of human nature, and trust me, you'll never see yourself the same way again. Have you ever done something you regretted? Something that didn't feel like you? Maybe you snapped at someone you love? Or stayed quiet when you should have spoken up? Now, take that moment and multiply it 1,000 times. That's how it starts show a good person becomes something else entirely. So, let me ask you, what would it take for you to lose yourself like that? Think about it for a sec. When was the last time you felt pushed to act against your values? Maybe it was peer pressure, a boss's order, or just a bad day. Drop it in the comments. I'm dying to hear your story. Because we've all been there, teetering on the edge. Here's the scary truth. Good people don't turn into monsters overnight. It's not like you wake up one day and say, "Hey, I think I'll be evil now." No, it's a slow burn. It starts with tiny compromises, saying yes when you mean no, ignoring that gut feeling that something's off. And then, boom, you're caught in a web of psychological traps. Things like dehumanization, where you stop seeing someone as a person and start seeing them as a thing. Or obedience, where you follow orders because it's easier than fighting back. These aren't just words. They're the gears that grind good intentions into dust. Let's talk about the Stanford prison experiment. Back in 1971, a guy named Philip Zimbardo took 24 normal college students guys you'd grab a beer with and turned a basement into a fake prison. Half were guards, half were prisoners, all picked at random. Within days, the guards started acting like tyrants. They humiliated the prisoners, made them do degrading stuff, even locked them in closets. These weren't bad apples. They were just regular people. But give them power, a uniform, and no one watching, they turned dark fast. The experiment was supposed to last 2 weeks. It got shut down in 6 days because it was that messed up. And it's not just lab stuff. Think about the Holocaust. Ordinary folks' neighbors, teachers, dads helped commit genocide. They didn't start out hating. They were conditioned. Propaganda told them who to fear. Authority told them what to do. And step by step, they crossed lines they never thought they would. It's chilling, but it's real. So, how do we not become that? First, we've got to spot the traps. When you feel that pressure to go along with something shady, hit pause. Ask yourself, is this me, or is this the situation talking? Second, keep your empathy on lock. The second you start seeing someone as less than, you're on a slippery slope. And third, own your choices. No, I was just following orders excuses. You're the gatekeeper of your soul. Act like it. Let's paint a picture. Imagine you're at a family picnic. Your cousins cracking jokes, everyone's laughing, good vibes all around. Then your uncle starts ranting about those people you know. The kind of talk that makes your stomach twist. You want to call him out, but everyone's nodding along, and you don't want to ruin the mood. So, you stay quiet. That's step one. Silence when you should have spoken. Now imagine that happening every week, every month, until you're not just quiet, you're agreeing. That's how it sneaks up on you. It's not a big leap, it's a slow slide. Or take a workplace example. Your team's cutting corners on a project nothing huge, just shaving some numbers to look good. You think, it's not my call, I'm just part of the team. But then it escalates, bigger lies, shadier moves, and you're still there, still nodding. That's how good people get tangled up in bad things. One, not my problem at a time. Here's a quick one for you. Think of a time you went along with something you didn't like. What pushed you into it? Fear? Wanting to fit in? Jot it down, and then tell me in the comments, what would you do different next time? Let's figure this out together. If this is hitting you where it counts, smash that like button and subscribe. We're unpacking the raw stuff about who we are and why we do what we do. Trust me, you don't want to miss what's next. And if you've got a friend who needs to hear this, share it. Let's wake some people up. Let's dig deeper, because this rabbit hole goes way down. Good people turning bad isn't about some inner evil waiting to pop out. It's about how the world around us can twist us up. Ever heard of Milgram's obedience study? In the 60s, Stanley Milgram wanted to figure out how regular people could have done the unthinkable during the Holocaust. So, he set up this experiment where folks were told to shock a learner and actor, but they didn't know that every time he got a question wrong. The shocks got worse, up to 450 volts, labeled danger, severe shock. The actor screamed, begged to stop, but when the experimenter said, "Keep going," 65% of people did. They weren't monsters, they were just doing what they were told. What Milgram found was wild. Most of us will hurt someone if an authority figure takes the blame. It's like our moral compass shuts off when we think we're off the hook. And it's not just about obedience, it's about self-justification too. People told themselves, "It's not my fault," or "They deserved it." That's how you go from "I'd never do that" to holding the switch. Take Abu Ghraib, 2004. U.S. soldiers tortured Iraqi prisoners. Photos of it shocked the world. These weren't born sadists. They were regular people in a messed up system. No oversight, a war zone, and a culture that painted the prisoners as the enemy. Sound familiar? It's Stanford all over again, just with higher stakes. Or think about Rwanda. 1994 neighbors hacking neighbors apart because propaganda turned them into cockroaches. Good people, gone monstrous, one step at a time. Here's how we fight it. First, question everything. If someone's telling you to do something that feels off, don't just nod, push back. Second, stay human. Look people in the eye. See their story. Refuse to let anyone become just a number. And third, build your moral backbone. Decide now what lines you won't cross, so when the pressure hits, you're ready. It's not easy, but it's how you stay you. Imagine this. Your boss tells you to fudge some numbers to save the company. You know it's wrong, but your job's on the line. What do? Sit with that for a sec. Would you cave, or would you stand up? Drop your answer in the comments. I want to know what you'd pick and why. Let's tell another story. Picture a guy named Tom Solid Dude, volunteers at the food bank, loves his kids. One day, he joins a protest, just to stand up for what's right. But the crowd gets rowdy, starts smashing windows. Tom doesn't want to look weak, so he picks up a brick. Just this once, he tells himself. Next thing he knows, he's in jail, wondering how he got there. That's groupthink. It's like a current that drags you under if you don't swim against it. And history's full of this. The My Lai Massacre, Vietnam, 1968. U.S. soldiers killed hundreds of unarmed villagers, women, kids, babies. The guys pulling triggers weren't psychos. They were scared, stressed, and told the village was the enemy. Dehumanization kicked in. They're not people. Their threats and obedience sealed it. One soldier, Hugh Thompson, said no. He landed his helicopter, stopped the killing, saved lives. One guy, a sea of chaos, held onto his humanity. That's the choice we all have. Philosophically, this gets heavy. Hannah Arendt watched Nazi Adolf Eichmann's trial and coined the banality of evil. He wasn't a demon, just a boring bureaucrat who followed orders. She said evil isn't always loud. Sometimes it's quiet, thoughtless, routine. That's the scariest part. You don't need horns to do harm, just a shrug. Picture this. You don't pay attention to this stuff. You keep thinking, I'm a good person. It won't happen to me. And then one day, you're looking back at a trail of choices you can't undo. Relationships ruined, values trashed, all because you didn't see the signs. That's the cost of ignoring this. It's not just about big evils like war. It's about losing yourself in the everyday. Letting anger take over. Letting fear call the shots. Letting the crowd drown out your voice. That's when the monster creeps in. And you don't even notice until it's too late. But flip that script. When you get how this works, you're unstoppable. You spot the traps before they snag you. You hold on to your compassion, your integrity. Even when the world's screaming at you to give in, you become the person who says no when it matters, who lifts others up instead of tearing them down. That's not just survival, that's power. That's living a life you're proud of, no matter what's thrown at you. Check this out. A study from Yale found that people are way more likely to go along with bad stuff if they feel anonymous, like wearing a mask or being in a crowd. But here's the hope. Research also shows that just one person standing up can flip the whole vibe. One voice saying, "This ain't right," can wake everyone else up. That could be you. You've got that kind of pull, you just have to use it. Imagine ignoring this. You're at a crossroads, say. A friend's bullying someone and you laugh it off. It's just a joke. Then it's not a joke anymore. It's a pattern, and you're part of it. You start justifying it. They're weak. They deserve it. That's your soul slipping away piece by piece. Or worse, you're in a job where the culture's toxicating, lying, winning at all costs. You stay, you adapt, and one day, you realize you're the one calling the shots you used to hate. That's not just a life, it's a cage you built yourself. But here's the flip side. You catch it early. You say no to the bullying. You walk away from the toxic gig. You keep your empathy sharp, your conscience clean. Suddenly, you're not just surviving, you're thriving. People trust you, look up to you. You sleep better at night because you're not wrestling with guilt. That's freedom, and it's worth every ounce of fight. If this is lighting a fire in you, hit like, subscribe, and share this with someone who needs it. We're digging into the stuff that shapes us, and every view helps us reach more people. Let's keep this going together.